All right, it's July 2025, and we just got the June numbers for the local real estate market. I wanted to give you some highlights, give you kind of a mid-year market update, tell you what I'm seeing, pull out some stats that jump out at me, and kind of break down some myths that have been circulating in terms of what's going on with the real estate market. So first, let's start with some numbers. Listings with at least one price reduction were up 112% compared to June of 2024. And these listings that have at least one price reduction account for 50% of the listings on the market. So a lot of people coming to the market having to drop their price. For those listings with at least one price drop, those listings sold in an average of 54 days at 95% of the original price on average. Compared to listings with no price reductions, those listings sold in an average of 7 days at 103% of original price. That is a big friggin' difference, especially when you're talking about $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes. 5%, 8% is a lot of money. So what's the difference between those 50% of homes that have at least one price reduction and those that don't? If you look at just the inventory, the number of homes on the market for sale as compared to the number of homes that are selling each month, the numbers will tell you that we are still in a seller's market, meaning we have less than 4 months of inventory on the market. And that just doesn't feel like the case, because what we're seeing is, yes, there is that group. Clearly, there's that group of homes that sell fast and for more than asking price. But for those that don't, which is a considerable amount of the homes on the market, they're creating kind of an artificial buyer's market. And what I mean by that is, because of where we're starting on price for a lot of these listings and having to reduce 1, 2, 3 times in some cases in order to get it sold, our days on market ticker just keeps going up. And a lot of sellers are getting to the point where they're just desperate. And, when you've got 60, 70, 90 days on market and you've reduced the price a couple of times and somebody brings you an offer, you're going to be a lot more willing to negotiate at that point. Okay. So I'll give you one example of how this plays out in practice. So we had one house recently. We were going to list it at 675, but I'm going to tell this story because I think it's very applicable. We were going to list it at 675. 675 was kind of like the top end of the market, at least what I thought was the top end of the market based on the comps. And it was a price that I thought, we'll kind of test. And if we don't sell it right away, we're probably going to be looking at a price reduction. Because of some other things that were going on in terms of the house that these folks wanted to buy, we decided kind of last minute, let's not go on the market at 675. Let's go on the market at 650 and be a little bit more aggressive so that we can get a quicker sale. Let's just go to the number that we think is a very sellable number that will drive traffic. And let's just start there versus starting higher and having to reduce the price. In that case, we went on the market at 650 and we ended up selling the house for over asking price, pretty close to the original number that they wanted, actually, in one day. Had we come on the market at 675, we probably wouldn't have gotten that offer. We probably would have sat and we probably would have reduced the price and we probably would have sold for much less. And that 8% difference between the listings that have to reduce the price and the listings that don't, that's a real number, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 difference in some cases. We're still in this market where it's a dichotomy between kind of the haves and the have-nots, the listings that sell versus the listings that sit. And the prudent thing to do as a seller right now is to get aggressive from the beginning on price. This is not the market to test your price. Those days are gone now. The best way to get the highest price, no doubt, is to price it aggressively from the beginning. The other thing is, buyers right now are being very picky because we have a lot more homes for sale than we did just a couple of years ago. And because prices are staying high. That's the number that I didn't mention, but I want to mention. In terms of price, average sales price in June, and let's see, this is from Wake County. Okay, this is just Wake. Average sales price in June as compared to June of 2024 was up 3%. 3% appreciation over the course of the year. That ain't bad. I mean, not at all, especially in this environment that we've been in with these high interest rates. So buyers are still kind of getting raked over the coals on a price standpoint. A lot of people thought with these high interest rates, it would cause prices to fall. And certainly there are parts of the country where that's happening, but it's not really happening here, with the exception that there are deals out there. You just have to approach the homes that have been on the market for a while, and you can get a deal. And you should. If you're kind of in this place where you're debating moving, I will tell you that right now, in terms of buying, there are some really good opportunities out there to buy. And you just have to know what you're doing and know which homes to approach. But you can get great deals and you can lock in at a really good price. Interest rates are still hovering in the high sixes. But that won't be the case, I don't think, for very much longer. There's a lot of conversations going on right now with the Fed Chair, Jerome Powell, whether he's going to stay in that role or not, or they're going to get a new Fed chair, whether they're going to cut interest rates. But regardless of what they do, just the economy is trending in a good direction that would warrant lower interest rates. And the spread right now between the prime interest rate and the 30-year mortgage rate is really big. So there's room in that spread for mortgage rates to drop without the Fed doing anything to the rates. A lot of people think that come the end of the year, we could be closer to that 6.0 number versus the 6.89 that we are sitting at right now. Who knows for next year? But the point is, right now, buyers are getting kind of double-ended between the price and the interest rates, and they're just being picky. So when you go to sell a house, you have to get everything right from the very beginning. You cannot cut corners. You have to make sure that you either clean your carpets really well or replace them. You paint that house, you power wash the exterior, you get it professionally cleaned, you get it staged, you get any repairs that you know of done in advance, and you just try to eliminate all the obstacles, because if you don't, it's going to be very easy for buyers to reject your house and move on to the next one because there's options. Okay. So all that is to say, if I had to sum up where we're at in mid 2025 in the real estate market, homes that are well priced and well prepared for the market are still selling fast and still selling in some cases for more than asking price. Homes that go on the market at a test the market price, those homes are sitting, they're not selling, they're reducing their price, and ultimately they're selling for, on average, 5% less than original price. And on a $400,000 house, that's $20,000. You do the math on the rest. I think the best play in the real estate market right now is to be a buyer and to be a discerning buyer who is well guided and approaching sellers that have high days on market. I think there are just deals out there to be had. And whereas a year ago, I wouldn't have said this, I think now is the time to be throwing out some stupid offers in some cases to just kind of see what sticks. I think you have a lot better chance of landing one. So that's it for June. These are June numbers. So we'll get the July numbers, sometime mid-August. But halfway through the year 2025, that's where we're at. Still a great market to be in right now. The sky is not falling. It's not going to fall. I don't know what you're hearing out online on social media, but just don't believe everything that you read. Come talk to one of us and we'll guide you. Thanks so much.